Maybe that's better. Hello and welcome to Evening at the Improv. Just kidding. Hello. We are on subscribers only may comment at the moment. Let me grab my water here. Here I am in my dirty landscaping clothes. Ask me if I care. Hello, Christina. How are you? How are you? Oh, I'm Christine. So now we have 3 of us with the same name. How appropriate. Wonder Twin powers activate. I am dirty from landscaping. I have no makeup on. It doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't really matter. How are you? Now, how can I have 2 thumbs up if there's only 1 person here? I've been super silent on here and on social media platforms altogether. So let's talk about that for a moment. You can probably feel and see my lack of enthusiasm at the moment. Not having a very easy time. And as we know, there is nothing in life that is permanent. But where am I going? Where is the channel going? I don't feel like it's really going anywhere. I feel extreme isolation. And even though we know things in life are not permanent, there is nothing more close to that than death. My mother is the reason that I am here in so many ways that you could not even believe. And I was talking to Dawn earlier, and she said she had never heard anyone in her life explain the relationship that I explained to her was my relationship with my mother. My mother is the reason I'm here physically, but my mother is also the reason that I am here on this channel. I remember as teenagers, as my mom had 3 teenage girls at the same time, I was one of those teenage girls. Okay, so we were 13, 14, and 15. I feel a little bit sorry for my mom in that capacity. But I guess we all asked for it, or we all signed up for it. And the reason that I say I wouldn't be here without her is not because she gave birth to me, in that fact alone. It's because I remember when my other teenage sisters were interested in getting their driver's license and wearing the most fashionable clothes. I was hanging out with my mom and her brother, talking about light workers and sharing books about aliens and all kinds of amazing things. You can't even imagine this maybe um, coming from a parent, but this was my mother. And my mother and her brother both are what got me into this. Now, as my sisters, as teenagers, were both interested in boys and lip gloss, the most fashionable clothes, and how soon they could get their driver's license and get the hell out of the house. I was hanging out with my mom and her brother and going to meditation circles and spiritual potlucks and all this stuff, right? As you can imagine, it was not very easy for me to make friends or to date either one, because what you see, who you see right now in front of this camera, this sensitive psychic person is who I've been for my entire life. And my mother knew that. And she not only allowed it, but she invited it. And I don't remember how young I was, but my mom and her brother were listening to these underground tapes about how Star Wars was funded through the presidential or through the governmental selling of weapons and stuff like this. So if you wonder what got me started in this, it was my mother. Now, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where this channel is going. Um, I really don't have any idea, because I've just decided, and I think I shared this probably not that long ago, but it has become more exasperated right now. And sorry, guys, I definitely don't feel like I have to put makeup on to show up on TV here, but I guess I could have at least brushed my hair today. So I have been given a lot to think about. And I know that people and places and things and relationships and jobs and opportunities are not permanent. My mom is 80 years old. She's been having some issues this past year that we have been trying to get to the bottom of with doctors for the entirety of this year. And 2 weeks ago, we got word. Luckily, it was not I. I am no longer medical power of attorney due to my my running away and going down to Alabama temporarily, because as we know, when things are going on, we don't always know exactly what's going on. But at that time, there was a lot going on in my building, if you remember, and I could not find a place to live due to the exasperated real estate market and the pumped up economy. So I put everything that I owned in storage and went to visit Shannon in Alabama. And those that are here, I believe, know this. While that was happening, my brothers and sisters asked me to step down from financial power of attorney for my mother, and I willingly agreed, because there were things that needed to be taken care of last August, not last August, but the August before, and I wasn't going to be here. I knew for at least, I probably told them that I would be gone for at least a couple of weeks, and so they asked me to step down from financial power of attorney, which I willingly agreed to, because I don't believe in fighting the universe and I want to make everything as easy as I can. However, when they asked to take me off of financial power of attorney, they turned around and also removed me from medical power of attorney, not only without my permission, but without asking me or even telling me until it was already done. I am a firm believer that everything is always working out for me, that everything is always happening the way it's meant to be. Okay, so I did not fight that. I did not have a showdown or a standoff with anybody about being removed from medical and financial power of attorney. And I am so grateful that I did not, because what is going on now, there's no way I don't have I don't think that I have the strength in me to deal with what my sister is dealing with as far as medical staff and all of that. We are all very much a part of this, but we were informed 2 weeks ago that she was terminally ill, and that um, there's nothing that can be done. And hospice was called um, the day the day after her doctor's appointment, um, because the goal, of course, is to keep her comfortable. And my little witchy healer ways, I wanted to try everything to stop this, um, to save her, but I can't. And a part of me really struggles with this because I feel like it can be such a violation of free will to interfere um, with whatever's going on, right? It's not just the body, it's the body, mind, and spirit connection. Even though I knew something was very wrong for at least the last 8 or 9 months, I didn't expect this. And even though that I know that people and places and relationships are always temporary, I was not expecting this. And she is the one body, mind, and soul, spirit connection that has to make the choice. Or perhaps she has already made the choice. But what this has made me understand more than ever is that I don't want to be in isolation anymore. I have been in isolation for an incredibly long time. Um, it's hard. I know that many others of you are also in isolation. But what I said to Dawn today, that she said she'd never heard anyone say about a parent before, is my mom was my best friend. My mom has always been my best friend. And I guess I knew something was really wrong when she wasn't asking me, you know, if I was in love with anybody or if I was happy, or telling me to put my lipstick on, or asking me why I'm letting my hair get so blonde, or anything that's going on with me. It's like she doesn't even notice, and I don't fault her for that. I'm just saying that's one of the reasons why I knew something was really terribly wrong. And so even though that I know that people and situations and relationships are impermanent, I don't really know what to do with the loss of that. You just cannot imagine. I mean, everything I've ever written, I've shared with her. Um, we talked about numerology and astrology and the evil government and the alien agenda. everything that I've ever gone through, every shitty relationship breakup, every shitty thing that I have ever gone through. She has always, 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 always been there. I have never had a friend like that. I have never had any other lifelong friends that I can confide in. And, COVID had a lot to do with it. There was a big separation between the people that was very intentional, as we know, but that just led to more and more isolation and separation. That led to me working for myself and by myself most of the time. You guys know that I haven't dated, and since I haven't even gone out on a date since like December of, I don't even know when that was. Gosh, no, I'm sorry. It was like the beginning of the year, January or February of 2021. I have not been on a date. It's all been very isolating, and sometimes we need to isolate and pull back from things so that we can observe things from a higher perspective or a lower perspective or a sideways perspective, so we can get perspective on what it is that we really want to do, what we came here to do, um, what makes us happy. I'm glad I'm not the only one that hasn't brushed their hair. Thank you for that, Christina. I, as hard as I want to, I'm not going to, I don't know. It was really upsetting to me. I tried to tell my mom that with cancer, she shouldn't be eating sugar, and that's what she's living on. And cancer lives on sucrose, so she craves it. And the doctors said that she would probably make it a couple months. I don't know. She's pretty bad. Thank you for your blessings and your love. I appreciate that. Um, in the midst of this, my niece is getting married in the 19th of October, so in just a couple weeks. And I am doing her wedding, so I'm planning that and getting some of the things done in advance. As a person with a tendency to be secretive and to isolate, anyway, COVID was not helpful in many respects, as we know. For that, it was also not helpful. It was great for me to be able to make my own schedule and control whether I had a good day. When you work for yourself, you can not blame your bad day or your bad attitude on anyone but yourself. So I appreciated that. But I so need this isolation to be over. And that's one of the things about my mom dying. My mom has really been in isolation for the last 3 years. She stopped doing the things that she loved, like dancing. I got my love of dancing for her. She drugged me to ballet class every time she could afford it. She stopped doing those things. She stopped wanting to meet people and being afraid to knock on the neighbor's door and see if they wanted to take a walk. So all of this is really shedding on light on my own personal isolation through my mom and whatever decision she had. It's so strange because she's kind of aware of it, but when she feels really sick and when she's doing really bad, um, she doesn't get it. Sometimes she'll say it's the medicine that's making me sick, or somebody bought me generic cottage cheese when everybody in my family is a foodie, okay? It's not just me, it's the whole damn family, right? You got the wrong cottage cheese, now I don't feel good. And it's like we have to talk to hospice to find a solution, because I cannot go in there and, I mean, all you can really do is say, I'm sorry that you're feeling bad. But, she's like, why is this happening to me? And, all this karma stuff comes up and all of this. Oh, thank you, Elisa. Long time no see. Hello, Rennie. How are you? Sorry, I'm not keeping it together. And I didn't put any makeup on. I probably knew that I wasn't going to be able to keep it together. I didn't really come here to talk about anything in external reality, though I know that there's a lot of things going on and a lot of things that you guys are talking about. I just don't, I'm not in a space to be interested in that right now. And the hardest thing for me with this, first of all, I want to say that my mom has been my best friend my entire life. She's 80 years old. I feel so incredibly grateful to have her. If she makes it to my birthday next month, I'll be so honored and so lucky and so privileged to have her be in my life as my best friend um, for 54 years. Um, I know that it's just about time for her to go. And like I said, it's really making me reflect on a lot of things, because when you're so close to someone for that long, what's happening to them as a sensitive, empathic person, you can connect and attach to, like that's happening to you. And I cannot do that with all the healing process that I've been through. This really was just like, it was like being in a giant swimming pool and someone pulled the drain out, and that drain was big enough to let a dolphin or a mermaid go through. And that's me. The bottom has dropped out of reality, of my reality. And I'm really starting to take a look at, do I want to be isolated? It's very hard for me. I walk twice a day, and every morning I say hi to people and good morning to people, and they just look through me like I don't even exist. And I was walking around, I was thinking about this, I was getting kind of teary eyed. I was doing my morning walk, which means no shoes and basically no underclothes, right? So when there's babies or people with strollers or people with dogs, I usually move off the sidewalk and let the dogs and the children have the sidewalk. And in my bare feet, I walked around the side of the road, and I was walking on the median like a tightrope. And I moved out of the way of this guy and his dog. And he said, "Can I ask you a question?" And I thought, oh, here we go in the city, right? And he said, and the weird thing was, guys, he looks so much like one of my friends, total different ethnicity, but so much. He looks like a friend of mine. And he wanted to know why I was choosing to walk around with no shoes through the city of Northside. And I said, I know, I do realize a lot of people think I'm homeless, um, but I can assure you it's for different reasons. And he wanted to know what the reasons were that I was walking around with no shoes. So I told him all the benefits and grounding with no shoes on. And then he looked at me and he said, it's so incredibly hard for people to talk about things that they think are weird or unknown. It's just so hard to talk about. And it's so important. And the weird thing is, all this thought of isolation and not being seen and not being heard. This man turns and looks at me and says, I've seen you a couple times walking with no shoes when I was in the park. And I know all the reasons for not wearing shoes. But I just wanted to ask you what your reason was. And then he asked me if I had read the book I forget what it's called, braiding sweetgrass or braided sweetgrass, which the synchronicity of that, because my girlfriend just told me it was the best book ever and that I had to read it a matter of weeks ago. So this guy then tells me the library will have that book, go get it, and then we'll have something to think about, or you and I will have something to talk about. Braided sweetgrass. Turns out he lives a couple streets from me. And so surreal and so strange as I was walking, thinking about being unseen, being unheard. And I come on YouTube and I am my transparent self, and we see where that gets me because my last video, with almost 1,000 subscribers, got 75 views. I know I've struck a chord or two in these last couple weeks, and I really don't care because no person in my community, on my street, in my neighborhood, in my house, in my family is going to make me uncomfortable in my own skin. But I need to really put myself out there more. So, in wrapping up the conversation I had with this man who looks like my friend who lives out of town, he says to me, get the book from the library. They'll have it, and then we'll have something to talk about. And I said, it was nice to meet you. What is your name? And his name is Proven. And I said, proven? Like I'm proven to be correct? And he said, yes, my name is Proven. And I thought, I couldn't make this up if I tried. I have been incredibly quiet on social media. I have been incredibly quiet. I think I've talked to maybe 2 people since my mom's diagnosis. And I wanted to share with you the reason for my absence. I'm not being absent just because of my mother's diagnosis. I am being absent because I am trying to redirect myself with my heart and what matters. And I think in the very last video I said, live like you're dying, right? Little did I know. But what is the reason not to do or be simply what makes us happy? Why stay in anything um, that's not happiness and joy? It really, really does make you think. And these kinds of health problems do not run in my family on either side. So you never know what kind of contracts we make with people. Uh, a lot of times when you get a person in your friends or family circle that is dying, it creates a lot of havoc, a lot of chaos, a lot of fighting when things change. I don't see a need for it. Like I said, when they took me off of financial power of attorney, that tells you how close we were. My mom has 5 children. She made me financial power of attorney and medical power of attorney alike, right? Because, and it's very reciprocated, but she obviously trusted my judgment in all things. And I trusted her judgment in all things as well. So I know there's a lot of chaos in the world, and it shouldn't take a catastrophe or some kind of staggering, alarming world event or loss of a family member for us to kick it into gear and decide to live who we truly are, and live in our joy and happiness and not hide who we are. Sometimes I think, well, I shouldn't say I think, I know, because I have felt the same way since I was 12 years old. And I think most of my life I have spent pushing things away or disregarding things because I so wanted to have friends and I so wanted to date and I so wanted to be like other people. I so wanted to fit in with other people, you know, but I just don't. I don't fit in with other people, and it's very, very, very hard for me to fake it in a business setting or social setting. I can get along with anybody, but will I really open my heart up and pour my heart out like I do on this channel to strangers in person and otherwise? No, I don't do it. And that's one of the reasons why this outlet and this channel was so important to me, is because the things that I say here, um, the things that I bring forward here, I may share with one or two of you in private. We may even discuss, something we feel that's revolutionary together before I make a video. Um, but I don't talk about things like this to people on the street. I do if they're open. I always gauge someone's openness, and however open that person is, I will um, talk about things. But I like to, even though I'm out here on social media doing this, I am can be very quiet. I can be uh, very reserved. And if you ask my friends, they would say, "Oh my God, you're the furthest thing from quiet. You're the furthest thing from reserved. You absolutely wear your heart on your sleeve." I'm sure many people would say that. Okay. But most people would not say that. I can't read your comments now because something else just came through. Oh, thank you, Renee. I appreciate that. I just didn't feel like it. And I'm just at the point where I don't do anything that I don't feel like. And you guys, I don't wear that much makeup um, in real life anyway. Sometimes I put it on my eyes and on my lips. I have it on my lips. I was down in the town square on the main drag doing Michael Jackson's Thriller and the Witchy Dance because dancing really helps me. Another thing that I got from my mom that I have done um, my entire life. I know that I'm not the only one that's had a lot of isolation. For a big part of their life, not just COVID. COVID was just an exasperation of perhaps isolation or loneliness or hermit mode, as everyone is so sick of hearing about. Okay. But I wanted you to know why I was absent. And the biggest reason I'm absent is I'm not going to do anything or say anything unless I'm inspired. Okay. Um, there's nothing else to do. Like, it's even like when I go to visit my mom, because we're visiting her every day. But when I go to visit my mom, I can just, sit there and be pragmatic and talk about her pill schedule and when's the last time she ate and do and say all the things that everyone else is doing. But I can't do that. I want to be as distracting as possible. And maybe if someone has dealt with hospice before, they can tell me how to deal with this when she says I don't feel good because I don't have top of the line cottage cheese or it's my medicine that makes me sick. We don't want to keep reminding her of her diagnosis. It's not very fun. It's not very pleasant. Um, and she doesn't have long. Who wants to spend it like that? So my niece's wedding, her granddaughter's wedding is October 19th. And I opened her closet and I said, "Now, what do you plan on wearing to Tara's wedding, Mom? Because it looks like you got a whole lot of options." And then I ran out with my girlfriend to Costco to get her egg bites because she's in assisted living. They don't have a stove or anything like that. So she's got an air fryer and her microwave. And I try to discourage the microwave, though. What's the point, I guess, now at this point? Um, but I ran out to get her like little mini pre-made egg bite kind of quiche things. Um, while my dad's girlfriend, partner of 27 years, that's right, my dad's partner of 27 years is hanging out with my mom. She is taking her turn with my mom. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that peaceful? Isn't that exactly what forgiveness should look like, right? Nobody gets divorced without some massive water under the bridge and some fighting and some family drama, right? It doesn't happen. I mean, I don't think. Not in the third dimension, right? We don't get divorced from a partner that, and my parents were together 21 years, I think. So Jan, my dad's partner, they have been together. It's been since 1996. So in 2026, my dad and his now partner Jan will have been together for 30 years. But how forgiving of Jan to sit with my mom, despite anything else that happened with her and my mom, or her and my dad, or anybody, right? She just sits there and dotes on my mom like my mom is a princess, is just so loving and so kind. So everybody should be so lucky to see forgiveness, because I think on a day-to-day basis we get pretty caught up with things like, oh, I borrowed my partner's car and I put a little scratch in it, or I got a little dent in it, or we fought about the laundry, or all these trivial things. Things can be so trivial, and I've always felt this way. It's not my mom leaving, um, and I think anybody with an open consciousness, to most extents right now, understands the importance of forgiveness, right? What's a scratch on a car, right? Um, whatever it is, life can be chaotic, life can be complicated, life can be full of love and full of joy and full of adventure. And I guess I've decided prior to this is only just push the button on the reset, that I will not participate in anything that's joy, and that forgiveness is everything. We go through so many incredible things with people. Um, I may not think that someone will forgive me for something that I've said, or that I've done, or maybe the other person in the situation thinks I would never forgive them for what they've done or what they've said, right? There has literally been one person in my entire life. I was assaulted by my boyfriend many years ago. I forgave him. I let it go. Would I date him? No. But forgiveness is a different story. My last boyfriend, from the beginning of May 2021, before May of 2021, broke into my Facebook account and started messaging and threatening some friends and some clients. Did I forgive him? I certainly did. I even told him that I forgave him for everything, because, he still wanted to be friends. Forgiveness is, it can be very different for different people. To me, with my trillion placements in Scorpio, you cross a barrier like that, you go into my computer and you message my clients, or my good friends, or threaten people. Am I going to forgive you? Absolutely. Am I ever going to speak to you again? Absolutely not. But to me, there is nothing that is unforgivable, right? I don't know any other way. to look at life. Because if I can't forgive someone for their thoughts or words or actions, it does nothing to them that I don't forgive them. The only person I'm hurting by not forgiving anyone is myself, right? I take it, I see it or feel it for what it was. It was a wound, and now it's over. But forgiveness is so important. I don't want to leave the earth plane without being who I am. I don't want to leave the earth plane without doing every single thing that I can that gives me joy and adventure. And I just see so many people stuck in shitty jobs and shitty relationships and situations of chaos and turmoil, both personally and in the world as well. And I never see a need for it. If there's a solution in the world and in our personal lives, let's find it, get on with it, and hit the reset button, right? That's how I see it. I wanted to share with you guys why I have been absent, both, um, on this channel and in dealing with you guys as well. I felt extremely lonely and isolated the other night, and I thought, who can I reach out to? I reached out to my son. He was busy. I reached out to my sister. She was on the couch and told me so. And I'm just laying on the couch, and that was the end of her. I tried calling or messaging several people and just couldn't even find a person to talk to. And I thought, I cannot continue to be this isolated person. I can't continue that. Now, I'm not blaming or pointing fingers at anyone because most of my friends are not here in Cincinnati. They're all over the globe. So we're on different time frames. And when I'm sitting here crying or I just need someone to talk to, it may be the middle of the night for you, or maybe you just got up and you're having breakfast or trying to get the kids out the door. Um, or maybe when I'm crying and trying to figure out how to move forward on this joyous adventure. That's all I want is a joyous adventure. And though I know that people, places, situations are not permanent, there is no other person that could have shown me any clearer that I'm spending too much time by myself in isolation. This channel is and has always been where I come to be open, honest, transparent, to channel in the messages, not only that you need to hear, but that I need to hear as well. I always go back and watch my video after I'm done with it. Some videos I've watched 3 or 4 times because if I'm telling you something, I'm not telling you something from my high horse and saying, hey, Rennie, get this through your head, right? If I'm rewatching the video once or twice, 3 times a lady, it's because there's something important that I had no idea. And most of what comes out in videos, I had no idea what was going to happen before I got on here. Okay. And that's why it's on members only chat, because I have to feel comfortable in my own skin. And the amount of people commenting on my appearance and how old I am and how out of shape I am and all of these other crazy things that I wouldn't even comment if somebody was a model or a fitness instructor. I would not do that. Um, okay. And the biggest reason why people come on here and tell me how ugly I am or how much I need to work out or how crazy I am is because they're just reflecting what's crazy in their life or what's ugly in their life or what they don't like about their own physical appearance. Keep that in mind. There's a lot of projection. I am wise enough to know that. However, not in this video, but in videos where I am trying to relax and channel what's important for you to know, I can't do that while someone's telling me to drop and give them 20 push-ups. It's just not possible because the messages I deliver in my transparency and my honesty and my clear channel don't come from the third dimension. So when I start to read this crap about the third dimension and my appearance, it pulls me out of the realm of where that message is coming from. Thank you so much for being here. If you believe in prayer and meditation, perhaps say one for my family. This is difficult um, for all of us. And I know people don't always agree about things, but I think every single person in my entire um, family would tell you that for my entire life, um, I have been closer to my mom than anyone ever. And so it's really difficult, though I feel like I should have been perhaps easing into this for the last year, because in the last year, um, I knew something was wrong. And I mean, I can talk to her and say, hey, um, I love this man, or I bought new shoes, or whatever. In the last year, especially the last 6 months, she listens, um, but she hasn't been very responsive at all. It's just really, really incredibly hard. So I am mostly working on trying to pump myself up and trying to be my own living, joyous inspiration. And that's why I said, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where this channel is going. There have been so many days in the last 2 weeks since her diagnosis that I thought, I have enough money in the bank to probably sit on the beach for at least 3 months, maybe 4, if I'm really thrifty, maybe 5 months. I can't leave her, even though she's leaving us. Yeah. Every single thing, even the worst single things. And I think I've told you the worst things here already that have ever happened to me. Being assaulted by your partner was one of them. Going through a 2.5 year custody battle with your only child was the other. Um, and having the ex-boyfriend hack my account and threaten the people that were closest to me. Those are the 3 worst things that have ever happened to me. And I forgave every one of those situations immediately. Not for that other person, but for me. We don't want to carry bitterness or harshness or resentment. There isn't anything that isn't forgivable. And right now, besides the beach, the only thing that matters to me is love and adventure and staying in wonderful spirit while I watch my mom exit everything but her spirit. So thank you so much for being here. I love you for your support, and I very much appreciate you. And when I have something
more inspiring to report on. I assure you that I will get back to you. Happiness, joy, adventure are the only things that matter. I already knew that. But then I met the man, and he told me my name is proven. And he probably thought I was really silly for smiling. But you just can't make it up. Thank you for being here. Thank you if you're someone who's watching, um, who needs to forgive me or yourself or anybody. Thank you. So much love. And thank you for being here. Bye.